KSA Radio, where you are family, welcome to Discover Magaliesburg. This is a once-a-week show where we look at the beautiful town of Magaliesburg, specifically focusing on Route 24, a collection of 27 guest houses in and around the area. My name is Ethan Baird, and I am your host every Wednesday from 1 to 1:30. Coming up in the show, we will talk about why you should go to Magaliesburg for a weekend away.
They don't want to pay toll fees to get to their destination. They don't want to spend hours in the car traveling to the destination.
But first, Jenny Gillis, owner of Perfumula, has been involved with Magaliesburg for most of her life.
Well, my parents bought a farm when I was 6 years old, so that's many years ago. And so we were weekend farmers, and I used to come out with my folks every weekend. When they eventually sold the farm, when they kind of got older, the farm became a bit of a hassle. Then I kept a small section, which was only 5 hectares, and I built a house there and had just a little weekend getaway. But then when I met and married my husband, we decided we wanted to do something much more than what we were able to do on the 5 hectares. So we bought a 200-hectare spot right against the mountain, a kilometre of the mountain to the top, and we started building a guest house. That was in 2010.
Jenny, like everyone else who lives here, is in love with the place. So Jenny, what excites you about living in Magaliesburg?
One thing that's really exciting is that some of the leopards are starting to come back into the mountains and starting to breed there. And there are a couple of leopards that are collared and people are tracking them. And so we had actually 3 leopards on our farm about 2 weeks ago that were feeding off one of our dead animals, a cow that we had to put down. So it's amazing, an hour and a half out of Joburg, you've got leopards. We've also got brown hyena. We've got a lot of the antelope that just occur naturally there. And there are a lot of game farms in and around this area of Magaliesburg. So there's a lot of natural occurring game, as well as people having brought in other antelope species.
The wildlife is just one of the reasons that the residents of Magaliesburg are in love. For Werner Kumpf, chairman of Route 24, the decision to move to Magaliesburg was an easy one.
I came to Magaliesburg in 2008, actually only here for a weekend in holidays. And Magaliesburg is a very, very laid-back area, and I was fascinated from the bush and the farms and the whole environment. And living in Johannesburg, it was too noisy, too crowded, and I thought, wow, that would be a place to stay.
Werner also owns his own guest house, Riverbend Cottages. Werner, why do you love living in Magaliesburg?
Well, from my experience, it's also Magaliesburg and surroundings is a little bit more low crime area. And if you are used to live in a town hidden behind burglar bars, security gates, alarm systems ring the whole night, and you come out here and you experience, like I did it, staying in a guest house with no burglar bars, it's like, wow, you live in paradise. You forget how is it to sleep with open windows, to let your door open and nothing happens, and you don't have to look permanently around your shoulder and thinking, oh, maybe I forgot to close the door. It's a completely different quality of life. And I think that attracts. That is what you miss when you go back to Johannesburg. Yeah. It's a little bit like a virus.
That was Werner Kumpf, chairman of Route 24 and owner of Riverbend Cottages. We will talk more to Werner in future about the history of Route 24. During my time interviewing the members of Route 24, I started noticing a trend. Many of the guest house owners are people who used to live fast-paced lives in Johannesburg and decided they need to break away from that life. Peter James, owner of Pushka Farm, made the jump quite some time ago.
I've been at Pushka. I started Pushka about 20 years ago. I'm retired. I used to be a patent attorney, and this is my dream. Linda and I are living our dream on our farm, which is about 30 k's outside of Magaliesburg.
So Peter, can you please tell me why you decided to move here?
I came to Magaliesburg about 30 years ago. Firstly as a weekender, and then permanently living here. Magaliesburg is just for me the most wonderful place. Number one, it is close to Johannesburg and Pretoria, and so when I lived in Johannesburg, it was a place to get away to. And that is what is so fantastic about it. It has the mountains, it has the